Roofers talk about CRM, operations, marketing, profit, but no one talks about exits the right way. RBP is building a different future for roofing companies, a system where founders keep their upside, scale through a proven 5-step platform, and prepare for something bigger than private equity, a path to becoming part of a publicly listed roofing company.
So we talk a lot about CRM, marketing, operations, sales, like a lot of that operational part, finding the efficiency, but then helping companies exit in a different way. The goal is to actually go about it a little bit differently than how private equity does it. It's kind of a 5-step process where we partner with strong founder-led firms, roll this equity into our platform, but the owners of the roofing companies keep the upside. It's the main fundamental difference, and I'll explain that visually in a bit. But then put them into this boot camp and then group these companies together, scale and expand them, and then exit. And again, this 7 to 10 EBITDA is kind of a sliding scale because no one knows the future. But the plan is not to exit to a private equity. The plan is to exit as a publicly listed roofing company, so an IPO. So in this Make Ready boot camp, there's a lot of what the RBP already does, and to a higher level, right? The idea is that we enhance the relationship between RBP and our partners in this platform, but then also some exit planning. Like, does the owner want to run the company for the next 20 years? Or if they were to have some kind of liquidity event, would that be their chance to go start Valiant Boats? You know what I mean? Like, start a boat dealership or a fishing trolley. I don't know. Helping out with unifying the books and making them kind of ready for public listing and handling all the consolidation efforts. All of this kind of combines together into what you could position as a sell side transaction. Meaning that if you were to have someone walk up to you on the street and be like, I want to buy your truck. Well, is the windshield cracked? The condition of the tires? Is there, a bunch of garbage in the center console? Like, you're not going to get as much money as if you said, I'm going to sell my truck. So I'm going to go get it detailed. I'm going to change the windshield. I'm going to clean it up, put a for sale sign in it. And now you're usually going to get more money that way because you're facilitating taking it to market. So all of this kind of consolidates into that process where we're controlling the sale as opposed to like private equity comes in, they email you, and then they start to whittle you down. And now you've already so committed to the process. Like, they know their recipe, they know their process. And their whole thing is like, how do we get the company do more with less and squeeze all the culture and value out of it to sell it again? Where we're different is that you enter into the SPV, but we're not buying your company yet. We're just having an option to purchase it. And then we exit. We have to keep the private equity option open because if somebody came to us with some obscene offer, I would have an obligation to present it to you guys. But the idea is to go to this public listing, and then some would continue to stay if they want. Some would choose to leave. But the idea is that when you go public, you can sell half your shares, you can sell all of them, you could keep all of them, you could stay, or you could leave. That's why we do this exit planning, to try and say, like, what would be the scenario that you would want when the company goes public, right? Some people would want to be the vice president of the Western Coast, right? Other people are going to want to be the director of marketing for the West Coast. Like, there'll be different positions that kind of are created at this line. But the idea is that this is a roofer-centric approach, which is that what does this roofing industry look like in 100 years? Not what does this roofing industry look like in 2 years? Instead of focusing on just trying to squeeze value and sell it again, we're going to focus more on creating operational excellence, the same thing that RBP already does, and tech enabling the service to an even higher level. Like, how do we then further enhance what we do with AI? But now we know where to invest that because we have this like partnership, we have this long-term vision that we've joined on. And then also doing some of what private equity does, which is creating that larger procurement leverage. Essentially, like, we can now go to national buying accounts and stuff like that because we represent a much larger purchasing power, and using that to drive down costs where it doesn't kill culture and it doesn't kill roofing quality or roofing experience. So visually comparing it to like private equity, what private equity usually does is say, okay, you're doing $1 million in EBITDA, we'll give you $3 million. They take these 10 companies they bought for 30 million. Now it's a platform of $10 million EBITDA. So then they sell it for 70 million. The whole purpose of what they're doing is just trying to get this lift. So they want you to do more with less. They're not selling a growth story. They're just trying to rub two dimes together and try and make a dollar. And what we intend to do is instead position you for that exit. But when it sells for 70 million, you're getting the full value of your company. We're taking a 20% fee because we're investing into this project with you. So the idea is that we have secured commitments to help these roofing companies grow. And obviously, their return comes when it goes public. So eventually, the private equity role kind of stops, and then everybody focuses on profit. And then there's this like redistribution of those private equities as they sell to each other. And then eventually, it ends up being there's publicly listed companies. But finding a way to create that vision for the roofing industry instead of waiting for it to happen, be a part of it.